Доброго времени суток всем участникам.
Good morning to every participant of our international marathon.
Продолжаем наше погружение.
So we continue our bathing.
Изучаем мы Caitanya-caritamritу в деяния Господа.
We study Sri Caitanya-caritamrita, actions of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, which took place 500 years ago. For us is just very close, because other incarnations of the Lord were a lot far away from our time. Especially he came not in this epoch, in Dvapara Yuga. There was another laws of human in connection with Vedas. And now in Kali Yuga we have not the same laws as in Treta Yuga and Satya Yuga. It's not appropriate for us, and we accept the method that is set in scriptures, especially for Kali Yuga, and there is no other way for us. Harir Nama Eva Kevalam. This is the singing of glory of the Lord, singing the Mahamantra, because Hari is the Radharani energy, the serving energy, eternal energy of the Lord. And to sing it separate, it's not appropriate. So we should call also the source of the energy Hare Krishna. Krishna is the source of the whole energies, and Hari is his energy. So this connection will be the whole. It should be explained by scientific things. We should study it in scientific way, so that we can practice it, can accept it, and we will have the good result when we understand what we are doing. People usually think that, oh, this is Hare Krishna, these people have very low knowledges. We don't criticize them, we just look at them with pityness. Like mother treat her child when he do something wrong, she doesn't blame him. And we, as a sincere people, we should understand that there is a deep essence in scriptures, and we can look at it from different sides. But actually we can't even do this. So that Lord sent us His devotees, that He could explain us the essence of scriptures, that we could practice it and accept it. He explained us, open us such scriptures in such a way. So the purports of Prabhupada are more essential for us than texts themselves, until we grow. Grow in spiritual life. The purports are essential for us. It's the base and the foundation. So we continue our reading for the benefit of the whole world, that everybody could understand the nature, get rid of bad things. So, as we also want to be to be wise in spiritual life, and our purpose to give the love of God and to gain it by ourselves. So I wish you a good mood, good run. We are continuing 21st chapter, the opulence and sweetness of Lord Sri Krishna. And today our spiritual master explained us these two meanings of opulences and sweetness. So we stopped at the text 114. We have read it already, but we read it again to to have a connection. And first to recite prayers. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya, Jaya Nityananda, Jaya Gaura Bhaktivinoda, Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya, Jaya Nityananda, Jaya Dvaita Chandra, Jaya Gaura Bhaktivinoda, Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya, Jaya Nityananda, Jaya Dvaita Chandra, Jaya Gaura Bhaktivinoda. Jai Gurudev. The text 114. O my dear friend, what severe austerities have the gopis performed to drink his transcendental beauty and sweetness through their eyes in complete fulfillment. Thus they glorify their births, bodies, and minds. And Krishnadas Kaviraja Goswami continues. Actually, the Lord Chaitanya is saying here, but Krishnadas Kaviraja is writing it down. The sweetness of Krishna's beauty enjoyed by the gopis is unparalleled. Nothing is equal to or greater than such ecstatic sweetness. Even the predominating deities of the Vaikuntha planets, the Narayanas, do not possess such sweetness. Indeed, none of the incarnations of Krishna up to Narayana possesses such transcendental beauty. The vivid evidence in the regard is that the dearest consort of Narayana, the goddess of fortune, who is worshipped by all chaste women, gave up everything in her desire to enjoy Krishna, being captivated by his unparalleled sweetness. Thus she took a great vow and underwent severe austerities. Here it is described that she is still doing these austerities. We are in Vrindavan and went to the other branch of river, and there is a temple of Lakshmi Devi where she is sitting in lotus pose, and she is doing this austerity, this practice, severe practice. It is said that she is still doing it. The quintessence of Krishna's sweet bodily luster is so perfect that there is no perfection above it. He is the immutable mind of all transcendental qualities. In his other manifestations and personal explanations, there is only a partial exhibition of such qualities. We understand all his personal expansions in this way. Both the gopis and Krishna are complete. The gopis' ecstatic love is like a mirror that becomes never at every moment and reflects Krishna's body, luster, and sweetness. Thus, competition increases, since neither give up. The pastimes become never, and newer and newer, and both sides constantly increases. The Transcendental Mellows, generated from the delights between the gopis and Krishna, cannot be tasted by means of fruitive activity, yogic austerities, speculative knowledge, regulative devotional service, mantra yoga, or meditation. This sweetness can be tasted only through the spontaneous love of liberation, liberated person who chants the holy names with great ecstatic love. Such ecstatic transactions between Krishna and the gopis are possible only in Vrindavana, which is the full of the opulences of transcendental love. The form of Krishna is the origin source of all transcendental qualities. It is like a mine of gems. The opulences belonging to all the personal expansions of Krishna are to be understood to be bestowed by Krishna. Therefore, Krishna is the original source and shelter of everyone. Beauty, humility, mercy, merit, patience, and expert intelligence are all manifested in Krishna. But besides this, Krishna has other qualities like good behavior, mildness, and magnanimity. He also performs welfare activities for the whole world. All these qualities are not visible in expansions like Narayana. After seeing Krishna, various people criticize the blinking of their eyes. In Vrindavana especially, all the gopis criticize Lord Brahma because of his defect in the eyes. Then Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu recited some verses from Srimad Bhagavatam and explained them vividly, thus enjoying the taste of transcendental sweetness with great happiness. All men and women were accustomed to enjoying the beauty of the shining face of Lord Krishna, as well as his shark-shaped earrings swinging on his ears, his beautiful features, his cheeks, and his playful smiles, all combined to form a constant festival for the eyes. And the blinking of the eyes became obstacles that impeded one from seeing that beauty. For this reason, man and woman became very angry at the Creator, Lord Brahma. O Krishna, when you go to the forest during the day and we do not see your sweet face, which is surrounded by beautiful curly hair, half a second becomes as long as an entire age for us, and we consider the Creator, who has put the eyelids on the eye we use for seeing you, to be simply a fool. Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is identical with the Vedic hymn known as Kama Gayatri, which is composed of 24.5 syllables. Those syllables are compared to moons that rise in Krishna. Thus, all three words are filled with desire. The face of Krishna is the king of all moons, and the body of Krishna is the throne. Thus, the king governs a society of moons. Krishna has two cheeks that shine like glowing gems. Both are considered full moons. His forehead is considered a half moon, and the spot of sandalwood there is considered a full moon. His fingernails are many full moons, and they dance on the flute in his hands. Their song is the melody of that flute. His toenails are also many full moons, and they dance on the ground. Their song is the jingling of his ankle bells. Krishna's face is the enjoy king. That full moon face makes his shark-shapen earrings and lotus eyes dance. His eyebrows are like bows, and his eyes are like arrows. His ears are fixed on the string of that bow, and when his eyes spread off his ears, he pierced the hearts of the gopis. The dancing features of his face surpass all the full moons and expand the marketplace of full moons. Although priceless, the nectar of Krishna's face is distributed to everyone. Some purchase the moon rays of his sweet smiles, and others purchase the nectar of his lips. Thus he pleases everyone. Krishna has two reddish, widely spread eyes. These are ministers of the king, and they subdue the pride of Cupid, who also has beautiful eyes. That face of Govinda, which is full of happiness, is the home of the pastimes of beauty, and it is very pleasing to everyone's eyes. If by devotional service one gets the results of pious activities and sees Lord Krishna's face, what can he relish with only two eyes? His greed and thirst increase twofold by seeing the nectarian face of Krishna. Due to his inability to sufficiently drink that nectar, he becomes very unhappy and criticizes the Creator for not having given more than two eyes. When the onlooker of Krishna's face becomes dissatisfied in this way, he thinks, "Why didn't the Creator give me thousands and millions of eyes? Why has he given me only two? Even these two eyes are disturbed by blinking, which keeps me from continuously seeing Krishna's face." Thus one excuses the Creator of being dry and tasteless due to engaging in service austerities. The Creator is only a dry manufacturer. He does not know how to create and set things in their proper places. The Creator says, "Let those who will see Krishna's beautiful face have two eyes." Just see the lack of consideration exhibited by this person posing as the Creator. If the Creator took my advice, he would give millions of eyes to the person who intends to see Shri Krishna's face. If the Creator will accept this advice, then I would say that he is competent in his work. The transcendental form of Lord Shri Krishna is compared to an ocean. A particularly extraordinary vision is the moon above the ocean, Shri Krishna's face, and an even more extraordinary vision is his smile, which is sweeter than sweet and is like shining beams of moonlight. While speaking of these things with Sanatana Goswami, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu began to remember one thing after another. Moving his hands in ecstasy, he recited a verse. "O my Lord, the transcendental body of Krishna is very sweet, and his face is even sweeter than his body, but his soft smile, which has the fragrance of honey, is sweeter still. My dear Sanatana, the sweetness of Krishna's personality is just like an ocean of ambrosia. Although my mind is now afflicted by convulsive desires, and I wish to drink that entire ocean, the repressive physician does not allow me to drink even one drop. Krishna's body is a city of attractive features, and it is sweeter than sweet. His face, which is like the moon, is sweeter still, and the supremely sweet, gentle smile on the moon-like face is like rays of moonshine. The beauty of Krishna's smile is the sweetest feature of all. His smile is like a full moon that spreads its rays throughout the three worlds, Goloka, Vrindavana, and spiritual sky of the Vaikunthas, and Davidhama, the material world. Thus Krishna's shining beauty spreads in all 10 directions. The slight smiling and fragrant illumination are compared to comfort, which enters the sweetness of his lips. That sweetness is transformed and enters into space as vibrations from the holes of his flute. The sound of Krishna's flute spreads in the 4 directions. Even though Krishna vibrates his flute within this universe, its sounds pierces the universal covering and goes to the spiritual sky. Thus, the vibration enters the ears of all inhabitants. It especially enters Goloka Vrindavana Dhama and attracts the minds of the young damsel of Vrajabhumi, bringing them forcibly to where Krishna is present. The vibration of Krishna's flute is very aggressive, and it breaks the voice of all chaste women. Indeed, its vibration takes them forcibly from the laps of their husbands. The vibration of his flute attracts even the goddesses of fortune in the Vaikuntha planets, to say nothing of the poor damsels of Vrindavana. The vibration of his flute slackens the knots of their underwear, even in front of their husbands. Thus, the gopis are forced to abandon their household duties and come before Lord Krishna. In this way, all social etiquette, shame, and fear are vanquished. The vibration of his flute causes all women to dance. The vibration of his flute is just like a bird that creates a nest within the ears of the gopis and always remains prominent there, not allowing any other sound to enter their ears. Indeed, the gopis cannot hear anything else, nor are they able to concentrate on anything else, not even to give a suitable reply. Such are the effects of the vibration of Lord Krishna's flute. Resuming his external consciousness, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told Sanatana Goswami, I have not spoken of what I intended. Lord Krishna is very merciful to you because he, by bewildering my mind, he has revealed his personal opulence and sweetness. He has caused you to hear all these things from me for your understanding. Since I have become a madman, I am saying one thing instead of another. This is because I am being carried away by the waves of the nectarian ocean of Lord Krishna transcendental sweetness. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then remained silent for a moment. Finally, adjusting things within his mind, he again spoke to Sanatana Goswami. If anyone gets an opportunity to hear about the sweetness of Krishna in this chapter of Sri Caitanya-caritamrita, he will certainly be eligible to float in the transcendental blissful ocean of love of God. Praying at the lotus feet of Shri Rupa and Shri Raghunatha, always desiring this mercy, I, Krishna Das, narrate Sri Caitanya-caritamrita following in their footsteps. So, this is the end of this wonderful chapter. We can meditate on the lotus feet of Krishna, and we can see that Lord Chaitanya explained it in the ecstasy, and he didn't plan to say it. We have the same experience that we don't plan something, we engaged in some process, feel sweetness of this, and can do anything that we didn't plan and couldn't imagine that we could do it, and seem happy doing this. So here, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu explains something to Sanatana Goswami about the opulences of Krishna, and now he will describe the process of devotional service. Chapter 22, the process of devotional service. A brief review of this chapter. In the 22nd chapter, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu describes the process of devotional service. In the beginning, he describes the truth about the living entity and the super-excellence of devotional service. He then describes the uselessness of mental speculation and mystic yoga. In all circumstances, the living entity is recommended to accept the path of devotional service as personally explained by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. The speculative method of the so-called Gyanis is considered a waste of time, and that is proved in this chapter. An intelligent person should abandon the process of Karmakanda, Jnanakanda, and mystic yoga. One should give up all these useless processes and take seriously to the path of Krishna consciousness. In this way, one's life will be successful. If one takes to Krishna consciousness fully, even though he may sometimes be be agitated due to having previously practiced many mental speculation and yoga mysticism, he will be saved by Lord Krishna himself. The fact is that devotional service is bestowed by the blessings of a pure devotee. Sa Mahatma Sudurlabha. A pure devotee is the supreme transcendentalist, and one has to receive his mercy from one's dormant Krishna consciousness to be awakened. One has to associate with pure devotees if one has a firm faith in the words of a great soul. Pure devotional service will awaken. In this chapter, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu differentiates between a pure devotee and others. He also describes the characteristics of a pure devotee. A devotee's most formidable enemy is association with the woman in an enjoying spirit. Association with non-devotees is also condemned because it is also a formidable enemy on the path of devotional service. One has to fully surrender unto the lotus feet of Krishna and give up attraction for women and non-devotees. So Krishnadas Kaviraja continues. I offer my respectful
с помощью которого можно найти прибежище в Кришне и обрести трансцендентное любовное служение Ему. Центром человеческой жизни должно быть исключительно преданное служение Господу Кришне. Таков вердикт всех ведических писаний, и все святые твердо...
I offer my respectful obeisances unto Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He is an ocean of transcendental mercy. And although the subject matter of Bhakti Yoga is very confidential, he has nonetheless manifested it so nicely, even in this age of Kali, the age of quarrel. All glories to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, all glories to Nityananda Prabhu, all glories to Advaita Acharya, and all glories to all the devotees of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, I have described one's relation with Krishna in various ways. This is the subject matter of all the Vedas. Krishna is the center of all activities. Now I shall speak about the characteristic of devotional service by which one can attain the shelter of Krishna and his love in transcendental service. A human being's activities should be centered only on devotional service to Lord Krishna. That is the verdict of all Vedic literature, and all saintly people have firmly concluded this. When the Mother Vedas Shruti is questioned as to whom to worship, she said that you are the only Lord and the worshipable object. Similarly, the corollaries of the Shruti Shastra, the Smriti Shastras, give the same instructions just like sisters. The Puranas, which are like brothers, follow in the footsteps of their mother, or enemy of the demon Mura. The conclusion is that you are the only shelter. Now I have understood this in truth. Krishna is the non-dual absolute truth, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Although He is one, He maintains different personal expansions and energies for His pastimes. Krishna expands Himself in many forms. Some of them are personal expansions and some are separate expansions. That He performs pastimes in both the spiritual and the material worlds. The spiritual worlds are the Vaikuntha planets and the material universes are the Brahmandas, gigantic globes governed by Lord Brahma. Expansions of His personal self, like the quadruple manifestation of Sankarsana, Pradyumna, Aniruddha, and Vasudeva, descends as incarnations from Vaikuntha to this material world. The separated expansions are the living entities. Although they are expansions of Krishna, they are counted among his different potencies. The living entities, jivas, are divided into two categories. Some are eternally liberated and the other are eternally conditioned. Those who are eternally liberated are always awake to Krishna consciousness, and they render transcendental love and service at the feet of Lord Krishna. They are to be considered eternal associates of Krishna, and they are eternally enjoying the transcendental bliss of serving Krishna. Apart from the even liberated devotees, there are the conditioned souls who always turn away from the service of the Lord. They are perpetually conditioned in this material world, and they are subjected to the material tribulations brought about by different bodily forms in hellish conditions. Due to his being opposed to Krishna consciousness, the conditioned soul is punished by the witch of the external energy Maya. He is thus ready to suffer the threefold miseries brought about by the body and mind, the inimical behavior of other living entities, and natural disturbances caused by the demigods. In this way, the conditioned soul becomes the servant of lusty desires, and when these are not fulfilled, he becomes the servant of anger and continues to be kicked by the external energy Maya, wandering throughout the universe. He may by chance get the association of a devotee physician whose instructions and hymns make the witch of the external energy flee. The conditioned soul thus gets into touch with devotional service to Lord Krishna, and in this way he can approach nearer and nearer to the Lord. Oh my Lord, there is no limit to the unwanted orders of lusty desires. Although I have rendered these desires so much service, they have not shown any mercy to me. I have not been ashamed to serve them, nor have I even desired to give them up. O my Lord, O head of the Yadu dynasty, recently, however, my intelligence has been awakened, and now I am giving them up. Due to transcendental intelligence, I now refuse to obey the unwanted orders of these desires, and I now come to you to surrender myself at your fearless lotus feet. Kindly engage me in your personal service and save me. Devotional service to Krishna is the chief function of the living entity. There are different methods for the liberation of the conditional soul: karma, jnana, yoga, and bhakti, but all the others are dependent on bhakti. Without devotional service, all other methods for spiritual self-realization are weak and insignificant. Unless one comes to the devotional service of the Lord Krishna, jnana and yoga cannot give the desired results. When pure knowledge is beyond all material affinity but is not dedicated to the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna, it does not appear very beautiful, although it is knowledge without a material tinge. What then is the use of fruitive activities which are naturally painful from the beginning and transcend by nature? If they are not utilized for the devotional service of the Lord, how can they be very attractive? Those who perform severe austerities and penances, those who give away all their possessions out of charity, those who are very famous for their auspicious activity, those who are engaged in meditation and mental speculation, and even those who are very expert in reciting the Vedic mantras are not able to obtain any auspicious results. Although they are engaged in auspicious activities, if they do not dedicate their activities to the service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, I therefore repeatedly offer my respectful obeisances unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, whose glories are always auspicious. Speculative knowledge alone without devotional service is not able to give liberation. On the other hand, even without knowledge, one can obtain liberation if one engages in the Lord's devotional service. My dear Lord, devotional service unto you is the only auspicious path. If one gives it up simply for speculative knowledge or the understanding that these living beings are spiritual souls and the material world is false, he undergoes a great deal of trouble. He only gains troublesome and inauspicious activities. His endeavors are like beating a husk that is already devoid of rice. His labor becomes fruitless. This divine energy of mind, considering of the three modes of material nature, is difficult to overcome, but those who have surrendered unto me can easily grow beyond it. The living entity is bound around the neck by the chain of Maya because he has forgotten that he is eternally a servant of Krishna. If the conditioned soul engages in the service of the Lord and simultaneously carries out the orders of his spiritual master and serves him, he can get out of the clutches of Maya and become eligible for shelter of Krishna's lotus feet. The followers of the Varnashrama instruction accept the regulative principles of the four social orders, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Shudra, and for spiritual orders, Brahmacharya, Grihastha, Vanaprastha, and Sannyasa. However, if one carries out the regulative principles of these orders but does not render transcendental service to Krishna, he falls into a hellish condition of material life. From the mouth of Brahma, the Brahminical order has come into existence. Similarly, from the arms the Kshatriyas have come, from his waist the Vaishyas have come, and from his legs the Shudras have come. These four orders and other spiritual counterparts, Brahmacharya, Grihastha, Vanaprastha, and Sannyasa, combined to make human society complete. If one simply maintains an official position in the four Varnas and Ashramas, but does not worship the Supreme Lord Vishnu, he falls down from his puffed up position into a hellish condition. There are many philosophical speculators, Gyanis, belonging to the Mayavada school, who consider themselves liberated and call themselves Narayana. But their intelligence is not purified unless they engage in Krishna devotional service. O lotus-eyed one, those who think they are liberated in this life but do not render devotional service to you must be of impure intelligence. Although they accept severe austerities and penances and rise to the spiritual position to impersonal Brahman realization, they fall down again because they neglect to worship your lotus feet. Krishna is compared to sunshine and Maya is compared to darkness. Wherever there is sunshine, there cannot be darkness. As soon as one takes to Krishna consciousness, the darkness of illusion, the influence of the external energy will immediately vanish. The external illusion energy of Krishna, known as Maya, is always ashamed to stand in front of Krishna, just as darkness is ashamed to remain before the sunshine. However, the Maya bewilders, unfortunately, people who have too intelligence. Thus, they simply boast that this material world is theirs and that they are its enjoyers. One is immediately freed from the clutches of Maya if he seriously say, "My dear Lord Krishna, although I have forgotten you for so many long years in the material world, today I am surrendering unto you. I am your sincere, the serious servant. Please engage me in your service." It is my word that if one seriously surrenders unto me, saying, "My dear Lord, from this day I am yours," the praise to me for courage, I shall immediately award courage to that person, and he will always remain safe from that time on. Due to bad association, the living entity desires material happiness, liberation, or merging into the impersonal aspect of the Lord, or he engages in mystic yoga for material power. If such a person actually becomes intelligent, he takes to Krishna consciousness by engaging himself in intense devotional service to Lord Shri Krishna. Where the one desires desires everything or nothing, or whether he desires to merge into the existence of the Lord, he is intelligent only if he worships the Lord Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, by rendering transcendental love and service. If those who desire material enjoyment or merging into the existence of the Absolute Truth engage in the Lord's transcendental love and service, they will immediately attain shelter at Krishna's lotus feet. Although they did not ask for it, Krishna is therefore very merciful. Krishna says, if one engages in my transcendental loving service, but at the same time wants the opulence of material enjoyment, he is very, very foolish. Indeed, he is just like a person who gives an ambrosia to drink poison. Since I am very intelligent, why should I give this full material prosperity? Instead, I shall induce him to take the nectar of the shelter of my lotus feet and make him forget illusory material enjoyment. Whenever Krishna is requested to fulfill one's desire, he undoubtedly does so, but he does not award anything which, after being enjoyed, will cause one to petition him again and again to fulfill further desires. When one has other desires but engaged in the Lord's service, Krishna forcibly gives one shelter at his lotus feet, where one will forget all other desires. When someone engages in Lord Krishna devotional service with the satisfaction of his senses and instead acquires a taste for serving Krishna, he gives up his material desires and willingly offers himself as an eternal servant of Krishna. When he was being blessed by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Dhruva Maharaja said, "O my Lord, because I was seeking an opulent material position, I was performing severe types of penance and austerity. Now I have gotten you, who are very difficult for the great demigods, saintly person and king to attain. I was searching after a piece of glass, but instead I have found a most valuable jewel. Therefore, I am so satisfied that I do not wish to ask any benediction from you. The conditioned soul are wandering throughout the different planets of the universe and entering various spiritual species of life. By good fortune, one of these souls may somehow or other be delivered from the ocean of nescience, just as one of the many big logs, if in a flowing river, may be by chance reach the bank. Because I am so fallen, I shall never get a chance to see the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This was my false apprehension. Rather, by chance, a person as fallen as I am may get to see the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Although one is being carried away by the waves of the river of time, one may eventually reach the shore. By good fortune, one becomes eligible to cross the ocean of nescience, and when one's term of material existence decreases, one may get an opportunity to associate with pure devotees. By such association, one's attraction to Krishna is awakened. O my Lord, O infallible Supreme Person, when a person wandering throughout the universe becomes eligible for liberation from material existence, he gets an opportunity to associate with devotees. When he associates with devotees, his attraction for you is awakened. You are the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the highest goal of the topmost devotees and the Lord of the universe. Krishna is situated in everyone's heart as the Chaitya Guru, the spiritual master within. When he is kind to so fortunate conditional soul, he personally gives him lessons so he can progress in devotional service, instructing the person as the super soul within the spiritual master without. O my Lord, transcendental poets and the experts in spiritual science could not fully express their indebtedness to you, even if they were endowed with the prolonged lifetime of Brahma. For you appear in two features, externally as the Acharya and internally as the Super Soul, to deliver the embodied living being by directing him how to come to you. By associating with the devotee, one awakens his faith in devotional service to Krishna. Because of devotional service, one's dormant love for Krishna awakens, and thus one's material conditioned existence come to an end. Somehow or other, if one is attracted to talks about me and has faith in the instructions I have set forth in the Bhagavad Gita, and if one is neither falsely detached from material things, nor very much attracted to material existence, his dormant love for me will be awakened by devotional service. Unless one is favored by a pure devotee, one cannot attain the platform of devotional service. To say nothing of Krishna Bhakti, one cannot even be relieved from the bondage of material existence. O Queen Raghugana, without taking upon one's head the dust from the lotus feet of the pure devotee, Mahajana or Mahatma, one cannot attain devotional service. Devotional service is not possible to attain simply by undergoing severe austerities and penances, by gorgeously worshipping the deity, or by strictly following the rules and regulations of the sannyasa or grihastha or other order. Nor it is attained by studying the Vedas, submerging oneself in water, or exposing unless one is to fire or scorching sunlight. Unless human society accepts the dust of the lotus feet of great Mahatmas, devotees who have nothing to do with the material possessions, mankind cannot turn its attention to the lotus feet of Krishna. Those lotus feet vanquish all the unwanted miserable condition of material life. The verdict of all revealed scriptures is that by even a moment association with the pure devotee, one can attain all success. The value of the moment's association with the devotee of the Lord cannot be compared even to the attainment of the heavenly planets of liberation from matter and matter. And what to speak of worldly benedictions in the form of material prosperity, which is for those who are meant for death. Krishna is so merciful that simply by aiming his instruction at Arjuna, he has given protection to the whole world. Because you are my very dear friend, I am speaking to you my supreme instruction, the most confidential knowledge of all. Hear this from me, for it is for your benefit. Always think of me and become my devotee, worship me and offer your homage unto me. Thus you will come to me without fail. I promise you this because you are my very dear friend. Although Krishna previously explained the proficiency of executing Vedic rituals, performing fruitive activity as enjoined in the Vedas, practicing yoga and cultivating jnana, these last instructions are most powerful and stand above all the other. If the devotee has faith in the strength of this order, he worships Lord Krishna and gives up all the other activities. As long as one is not satisfied by fruitive activity and has not awakened his taste for devotional service by Shravan and Kirtan and Vishnu, one has to act according to the regulative principles of the Vedic instructions. Shraddha is confident, firm faith that by rendering transcendental loving service to Krishna, one automatically performs all subsidiary activities. Such faith is favorable to the discharge of devotional service. By pouring water on the root of the tree, one automatically satisfies the trunk, branches, and twigs. Similarly, by supplying food to the stomach, where it nourishes the life air, one satisfies all the senses. In the same way, by worshipping Krishna and rendering him service, one automatically satisfies all the demigods. A faithful devotee is a truly eligible candidate for the love and service of the Lord. According to one's faith, one is classified as a topmost devotee, an intermediate devotee, or an inferior devotee. One who is expert in logic, argument, and the revealed scriptures, and who has firm faith in Krishna, is classified as the topmost devotee. He can deliver the whole world. One who is expert in logic and in understanding the revealed scriptures, and who always has firm conviction and deep faith that is not blind, is to be considered a topmost devotee in devotional service. One who is not very expert in argument and logic based on the revealed scriptures, but who has firm faith, is considered a second-class devotee. He also must be considered most fortunate. He who does not know scriptural argument very well, but who has firm faith, is called an intermediate or second-class devotee. One whose faith is soft and pliable is called a neophyte, but by gradually following the process, he will rise to the platform of the first-class devotee. One whose faith is not very strong, who is just beginning, should be considered a neophyte devotee. A devotee is considered superlative or superior according to his attraction and love. In the 11th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, the following symptoms have been given. A person advanced in devotional service sees within everything the soul of souls, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna. Consequently, he always sees the form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead as the cause of all causes and understands that all things are situated in him. An intermediate second-class devotee shows love for the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is friendly to all devotees, and is very merciful to neophytes and ignorant people. The intermediate devotee neglects those who are envious of devotional service. A Prakrita Bhakta, or materialistic devotee, does not purposefully study the Shastra and try to understand the actual standard of pure devotional service. Consequently, he does not show proper respect to advanced devotees. He may, however, follow the regulative principles learned from his spiritual master or from his family who worships the deity. He is to be considered on the material platform, although he is trying to advance in devotional service. Such a person is a Bhakta Praya, neophyte devotee, or Bhakta Bhasa, for he is a little enlightened by Vaishnava philosophy. A Vaishnava is one who has developed all good transcendental qualities. All the good qualities of Krishna gradually develop in Krishna's devotee. In one who has unflinching devotional faith in Krishna, all the good qualities of Krishna and the demigods are consistently manifest. However, he who has no devotion to the Supreme Personality of Godhead has no good qualifications because he is engaged by mental concoction in material existence, which is the external feature of the Lord. All the transcendental qualities are the characteristic of pure Vaishnavas, and they cannot be fully explained, but I shall try to point out some of the important qualities. Devotees are always merciful, humble, truthful, equal to all, faultless, magnanimous, mild and clean. They are without material possessions, and they perform welfare work for everyone. They are peaceful, surrendered to Krishna, and desireless. They are indifferent to material acquisitions and are fixed in devotional service. They completely control the 6 bad qualities: lust, anger, greed, and so forth. They eat only as much as required, and they are not inebriated. They are respectful, grave, compassionate, and without false prestige. They are friendly, poetic, expert, and silent. Devotees are always tolerant, forbearing, and very merciful. They are the well-wishers of every living entity. They follow the spiritual injunctions, and because they have no enemies, They are very peaceful. These are the decorations of devotees. It is the verdict of all Shastras and great personalities that service to a pure devotee is the path of liberation. By contrast, association with materialistic people who are attached to material enjoyment and woman is the path of darkness. Those who are actually devotees are broad-minded, equal to everyone, and very peaceful. They never become angry, and they are friendly to all living entities. The root cause of devotional service to Lord Krishna is association with advanced devotees. Even when one's dormant love for Krishna awakens, association with devotees is still most essential. O my Lord, O infallible Supreme Person, when a person wandering throughout the universes becomes eligible for liberation from material existence, he gets an opportunity to associate with devotees. When he associates with devotees, his attraction for you is awakened. You are the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the highest goal of the topmost devotees, and the Lord of the universe. O devotees, O you who are free from all sins, let me inquire from you about that which is supremely auspicious for all living entities. Association with a pure devotee for even a half a moment in this material world is the greatest treasure for human society. The spiritually powerful message of Godhead can be properly discussed only in association of devotees, and it is greatly pleasing to hear in that association. If one hears from devotees, the way of transcendental experience quickly opens and gradually one attains firm faith that is in due course develops into attraction and devotion. Vaishnavas should always avoid the association of ordinary people. Common people are very much materially attached, especially to women. Vaishnavas should also avoid the company of those who are not devotees of Lord Krishna. By association with the worldly people, one becomes devoid of truthfulness, cleanliness, mercy, gravity, spiritual intelligence, shyness, austerity, fame, forgiveness, control of the mind, control of the senses, fortune, and all opportunities. One should not at any time associate with the coerceful who is bereft of the knowledge of self-realization and who is no more than a toy animal in the hands of a woman. The illusion and bondage that accrue to a man from attachment to any other object are not as complete as that resulting from association with a woman or with men too much attached to woman. It's better to accept the miseries of being encaged within bars and surrounded by burning flames than to associate with those bereft of Krishna consciousness. Such association is a very great hardship. One should not even see those who are bereft of devotional service in Krishna consciousness and who are therefore devoid of pious activities. Without hesitation, one should take exclusive shelter of Lord Krishna with full confidence, giving up bad association and even neglecting the regulative principles of the 4 varnas and 4 ashramas. That is to say, one should abandon all material attachment. After giving up all kind of religious and occupational duties, if you come to me, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and take shelter, I shall give you protection from all of life's sinful reactions. Do not worry. Lord Krishna is very kind to his devotees. He is always very grateful and magnanimous, and he possesses all abilities. A learned man does not give up Krishna to worship anyone else. My dear Lord, you are very affectionate to your devotees. You are also a truthful and grateful friend. there is that lone man who would give you up and surrender to someone else. You fulfill all the desires of your devotees, so much so that sometimes you even give yourself to them. Still, you neither increase nor decrease by such activity. Whenever an experienced person develops real knowledge of Krishna and his transcendental qualities, he naturally gives up all other engagements and renders service to the Lord. Uddhava gives evidence concerning this. Oh, how wonderful it is! Putana, the sister of Bakasura, wanted to kill Krishna by smearing deadly poison on her breasts and having Krishna take it. Nonetheless, Lord Krishna accepted her as his mother, and thus she attained the destination befitting Krishna's mother. Oh, whom should I take shelter but Krishna, who is most merciful? There are two kinds of devotees, those who are fully satisfied and free from all material desires, and those who are fully surrendered to the lotus feet of the Lord. Their qualities are one and the same, but those who are fully surrendered to Krishna's lotus feet are qualified with another transcendental quality, Atma Samarpana, full surrender without reservation. The 6 divisions of surrender are the acceptance of those things favorable to devotional service, the rejection of unfavorable things, the conviction that Krishna will give protection, the acceptance of the Lord as one guardian or master, full self-surrender and humility. One whose body is fully surrendered takes shelter at the holy place where Krishna had his pastimes, and he prays to the Lord, "My Lord, I am yours." Understanding this with his mind, he enjoys spiritual bliss. When a devotee thus fully surrenders unto Krishna's lotus feet, Krishna accepts him as one of his confidential associates. The living entity who is subjected to birth and death attains morality when he gives up all material activities, dedicates his life to the execution of my order, and acts according to my directions. In this way, he becomes fit to enjoy the spiritual bliss derived from exchanging loving mellows with me. My dear Sanatana, please now hear about the regulative principles for the execution of devotional service. By this process, one can attain the highest perfection of love of Godhead, which is the most desirable treasure. When transcendental devotional service, by which love for Krishna is attained, is executed by the senses, it is called sadhana bhakti, or the regulative discharge of devotional service. Such devotion eternally exists within the heart of every living entity. The awakening of this eternal devotion is the potential of devotional service in practice. The spiritual activity of hearing, chanting, remembering, and so forth are the natural characteristic of devotional service. The marginal characteristic is that it awakens pure love for Krishna. Pure love for Krishna is eternally established in the hearts of the living entities. It is not something to be gained from another source. When the heart is purified by hearing and chanting, this love naturally awakens. There are two processes of practical devotional service. One is regulative devotional service, and the other is spontaneous devotional service. Those who have not attained the platform of spontaneous attachment in devotional service render devotional service under the guidance of a bona fide spiritual master according to the regulative principle principles mentioned in the revealed scriptures. According to the revealed scriptures, this kind of devotion service is called Vaidhi Bhakti. O descendant of Bharata, O Maharaja Parikshit, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is situated in everyone's heart as Paramatma, who is the Supreme Controller and who always removes the miseries of the living entity, must always be heard about from reliable sources, and he must be glorified and remembered by one who wishes to become fearless. From the mouth of Brahma, the Brahminical order has come into existence. Similarly, from his arms, the Kshatriyas have come, from his waist, the Vaishyas have come, and from the legs, the Shudras have come. These four orders and their spiritual counterparts, Brahmacharya, Grihastha, Vanaprastha, and Sannyasa, combine to make human society complete. If one simply maintains an official position in the four varnas and ashrama but does not worship the Supreme Lord Vishnu, he falls down from the puffed up position into hellish condition. Krishna is the origin of Lord Vishnu. He should always be remembered and never forgotten at any time. All the rules and prohibitions mentioned in the Shastra should be the servants of these two principles. I shall say something about the various practices of devotional service, which is expanded in so many ways. I wish to speak briefly of the essential practices. On the path of regulative devotional service, one must observe the following items. First, one must accept a bona fide spiritual master. Second, one must accept initiation from him. Third, one must serve him. Fourth, one must receive instructions from the spiritual master and make inquiries in order to learn devotional service. Fifth, one must follow in the footsteps of the previous acharyas and follow the directions given by the spiritual master. The next steps are as follows. 6. One should be prepared to give up everything for Krishna's satisfaction, and one should also accept everything for Krishna's satisfaction. 7th. One must live in a place where Krishna is present, a city like Vrindavana or Mathura or a Krishna temple. 8th. One should acquire livelihood that is just sufficient to keep body and soul together. 9th. One must fast on the Ekadashi day. 10th, one should worship Dhatri trees, banyan trees, cows, brahmanas, and devotees of Lord Vishnu. 11th, one should avoid offenses against devotional service and the holy name. The 12th item is to give up the company of non-devotees. 13th, one should not accept an unlimited number of disciples. 14th, one should not partially study many scriptures just to be able to give references and expand explanations. 15th, the devotee should treat loss and gain equally. 16th, the devotee should not be overwhelmed by lamentation. 17th, the devotee should not worship demigods, nor should he disrespect them. Similarly, the devotee should not study or criticize the scriptures. 18th, the devotee should not hear Lord Vishnu or his devotees blasphemed. 19th, the devotee should avoid reading or hearing newspapers or mundane books that contain stories of love affairs between man and woman or subjects palatable to the senses. 20th, neither by mind nor words should the devotee cause anxiety to any living entity, regardless how insignificant he may be. After one is established in devotional service, the positive actions are: first, hearing; second, chanting; third, remembering; fourth, worshipping; fifth, praying; sixth, serving; seventh, accepting servitorship; 8th, becoming a friend; and 9th, surrendering fully. One should also dance before the deity, sing before the deity, open one's mind to the deity, 13. Offer obeisances to the deity. 14. Stand up before the deity and the spiritual master just to show them respect. 15. Follow the deity or the spiritual master. And 16. Visit different places of pilgrimage or go see the deity in the temple. One should 17. Circumambulate the temple. 18. Recite various prayers. 19. Chant softly. 20. Chant congregationally. 21. Smell the incense and flower garlands offered to the deity. And 22. Eat the remnants of food offered to the deity. One should 23rd attend the arati and festivals. 24th see the deity. 25th present what is very dear to oneself to the deity. 26th meditate on the deity. And 27 to 30th serve those related to the Lord. The Diya means the tulasi leaves, the devotees of Krishna, the birthplace of Krishna Madhura, and the Vedic literature Srimad Bhagavatam. Krishna is very eager to see his devotees serve tulasi, Vaishnavas, Madhura, and Bhagavatam. 31st. One should perform all endeavors for Krishna. 32nd. One should look forward to his mercy. 33rd. One should partake the various ceremonies which devotees ceremonies like Lord Krishna's birthday or Machandra birthday. One should surrender to Krishna in all respects. 35th. One should observe particular vows like Caitanya-caritamrita. These are some of the 64 important items of devotional service. One should associate with devotees, chant the holy name of the Lord, hear Srimad Bhagavatam, recite at Madhura, and worship the deity with faith and veneration. These 5 limbs of devotional service are the best of all. Even a slight performance of these 5 awakens love for Krishna. With love and full faith, one should worship the lotus feet of the deity. One should taste the meaning of Srimad Bhagavatam in the association of pure devotees, and one should associate with the devotees who are more advanced than oneself and who are endowed with a similar type of affection for the Lord. One should congregationally chant the holy name of the Lord and reside in Vrindavana. The power of these 5 principles is very wonderful and difficult to understand. Even without faith in them, a person who is offenseless can awaken his dormant love of Krishna simply by being a little connected with them. When one is firmly fixed in devotional service, whether he executes one or many processes of devotional service, the waves of love of Godhead will awaken. There are many devotees who execute only one of the 9 processes of devotional service. Nonetheless, they get unlimited and ultimate success. Devotees like Maharaja Ambarish execute all 9 items, and they also get ultimate success. Maharaja Parikshit attained the highest perfection, shelter of Lord Krishna's lotus feet, simply by hearing about Lord Vishnu. Shukadeva Goswami attained perfection simply by reciting Srimad Bhagavatam. Prahlada Maharaja attained perfection by remembering the Lord. The goddess of fortune attained perfection by messaging the transcendental legs of Mahavishnu. Maharaja Pridhu attained perfection by worshipping the deity, and the Krura attained perfection by offering prayers unto the Lord. Vajrangali Hanuman attained perfection. Vajrangaji Hanuman, attained perfection by rendering service to Lord Ramachandra. And Arjuna attained perfection simply by being Krishna's friend. Bali Maharaja attained perfection by dedicating everything to the lotus feet of Krishna. Maharaja Ambarisha always engaged his mind at the lotus feet of Krishna. His words in describing the spiritual world and the Supreme Personality of Godhead, his hands in cleansing and washing the Lord's temple, his ears in hearing topics about the Supreme Lord, his eyes in seeing the deity of Lord Krishna in the temple, his body is embracing Vaishnavas or touching their lotus feet, his nostrils in smelling the aroma of the tulasi leaves offered to lotus Krishna's lotus feet, his tongue is in tasting food offered to Krishna, his legs in going to places of pilgrimage like Vrindavana and Mathura or to the Lord's temple. His head in touching the lotus feet of the Lord and offering him obeisances and his desires in serving the Lord faithfully. In this way, Maharaja Ambarisha engaged his senses in the transcendental love and service of the Lord. As a result, he awakened his dormant love and propensity for the Lord's service. If a person gives up all material desires and completely engages in the transcendental love and service of Krishna, as enjoined in the revealed scriptures, he is never indebted to the demigod sages of forefathers. One who has given up all material duties and taken full shelter at the lotus feet of Mukunda, who gives shelter to all, is not indebted to the demigods, great sages, ordinary living beings, relatives, friends, mankind, or even his forefathers who have passed away. Although the pure devotee does not follow all the regulative principles of Varnashrama, he worships the lotus feet of Krishna. Therefore, he naturally has no tendency to commit sin. If, however, a devotee accidentally becomes involved in a sinful activity, Krishna purifies him. He does not have to undergo the regulative form of atonement. One who has given up everything and take full shelter at the lotus feet of Hari, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is very dear to Krishna. If he is involved in some sinful activity by accident, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is seated within everyone's heart, removes his sins without difficulty. The path of speculative knowledge and renunciation is not essential for devotional service. Indeed, good qualities such as non-violence and control of the mind and senses automatically accompany a devotee of Lord Krishna. For one who is fully engaged in my devotional service, whose mind is fixed on me in Bhakti Yoga, the path of speculative knowledge and renunciation is not very beneficial. O hunter, good qualities like non-violence, which you have developed, are not very astonishing for those who are engaged in the Lord's devotional service and never inclined to give pain to others because of envy. My dear Sanatana, I have now in detail described devotional service according to the regulative principles. Now hear from me about spontaneous devotional service and its characteristics. The original inhabitants of Vrindavana are attached to Krishna spontaneously in devotional service. Nothing can compare to such spontaneous devotional service, which is called Ragatmika Bhakti. When a devotee follows in the footsteps of the devotees of Vrindavana, his devotional service is called Raganuga Bhakti. When one becomes attached to the Supreme Personality of Godhead according to one's natural inclination to love Him and is fully absorbed in thoughts of the Lord, that state is called Transcendental Attachment, and devotional service according to that attachment is called Ragatmika, or spontaneous devotional service. The primary characteristic of spontaneous love is deep attachment for the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Absorption in thought of Him is a marginal characteristic. Thus, devotional service, which consists of raga, deep attachment, is called ragatmika, spontaneous love in service. If a devotee covets such a position, he is considered to be most fortunate. If one follows in the footsteps of the inhabitants of Vrindavana, one of such transcendental covetousness, he does not care for the injunctions of reasonings of Shastra. That is the way of spontaneous love. Devotional service is spontaneous love is vividly expressed and manifested by the inhabitants of Vrindavana. Devotional service that accords with their devotional service is called Raganuga Bhakti, or devotional service following in the wave of spontaneous love and service. When an advanced realized devotee hears about the affairs of the devotees of Vrindavana in the mellows of Shastra, Shantadasya, Sakya, Vatsalya, and Madhurya, he becomes inclined in one of these ways and his intelligence becomes attracted. Indeed, he begins to covet the particular type of devotion. When such covetousness is awakened, one's intelligence no longer depends on the instructions of Shastra, revealed scripture, or on logic and argument. There are two processes by which one may execute this Raganuga Bhakti, external and internal. When self-realized, the advanced devotee externally remains like a neophyte and executes all the Shastric injunctions, especially those concerning hearing and chanting. But within his mind, in his original purified self-realization position, he serves Krishna in Vrindavana in his particular way. He serves Krishna 24 hours a day, all day and night. The advanced devotee who is inclined to spontaneous love and service should follow the activities or a particular associate of Krishna's in Vrindavana. He should execute service externally as a regulative devotee as well as internally from his self-realized position. Thus, he should perform devotional service both externally and internally. Actually, the inhabitants of Vrindavana are very dear to Krishna. If one wants to engage in spontaneous love and service, he must follow the inhabitants of Vrindavana and constantly engage in devotional service within his mind. The devotee should always think of Krishna within himself and should choose a very dear devotee who is a servitor of Krishna in Vrindavana. One should constantly engage in topics about this servitor and his loving relationship with Krishna, and one should live in Vrindavana. If one is physically unable to go to Vrindavana, he should mentally live there. Krishna has many types of devotees. Some are servants, some are friends, some are parents, some are conjugal lovers. Devotees who are situated in one of these attitudes of spontaneous love, according to their choice, are considered to be on the path of spontaneous love and service. My dear Mother Devahuti, or emblem of peace, my weapon, the disc of time, never vanquishes those who, for whom I am very dear, for whom I am the super soul, son, friend, spiritual master, well-wisher, worshipable deity, and desired goal. Since the devotees are always attached to me, they are never vanquished by the agents of time. Let me offer my respectful obeisances again and again to those who always engage, eagerly meditate upon the Supreme Personality of Godhead as a husband, son, friend, brother, father, or intimate friend. If one engages in spontaneous love and service to the Lord, his affection for the lotus feet of Krishna gradually increases. In the seed of affection, there is attachment which goes by two names, Rati and Bhava. The Supreme Personality of Godhead comes under the control of such attachment. That by which one can attain love and service to the Lord, I have described in detail as the execution of devotional service, called Abhidhaya. My dear Sanatan, I have briefly described the process of devotional service in practice, which is the means for obtaining love of Krishna. It cannot be described broadly. However, here's this description of the process of practical devotional service: very soon attain shelter of the lotus feet of Krishna in love and affection. Praying at the lotus feet of Sri Rupa and Sri Raghunatha, always desiring their mercy, I, Krishna Das, and narrate Sri Caitanya-caritamrita following in their footsteps. This is the end of the 22nd chapter. We should fire the incense. Well, this chapter is the most auspicious part, who wants to develop their relations with Krishna more closely and be more strong in the path of bhakti. We have all instructions here, all needable here for the devotional service, for spiritual advancement, for understanding the essence of relations with the Lord. So Lord Chaitanya explains that everything here. Of course, there is a lot of things here that we should understand. It may seem that it's for us, but maybe something is too early for us. For example, to think ourselves as the wife of Krishna. We must have the same consciousness. We should be, if to think oneself as a wife of God, He is God and you should be the goddess. And then what first appropriate for us is to find spiritual master, to think his words, do the service for him, and think about Krishna. And that's how, step by step, our dormant love will be awakened. As it is said here that very soon this dormant love will be developed. What does it mean? That it's very fast. We should fasten our seatbelts because it will be very fast. And if someone keeps his material desires, have affection to the others, this person will have problems on his path. It's like being between sky and earth. So let's read this chapter in the future again and again, because there is a lot of important things here. There is a lot of things that we can do now, and what we can plan for future, and what we have to make it more stronger in our practice. So we continue to read 23rd chapter of Caitanya-caritamrita of Krishnadasa Kaviraja. Life's ultimate goal, love of Godhead. Everyone is saying that God is the love, that we should love the God, and we'll see here what is it about. The following summary of the 23rd chapter is given by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur in his Amrita Pravaha Bhashya. In this chapter, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu described the symptoms of emotion and love and the awakening of one's original loving relationship with the Lord, as well as the characteristics of a devotee who has actually attained this stage. He then describes the gradual increase of love of God up to the point of Mahabhava. He then describes the 5 divisions of the attraction and how they continue. He also describes the mellow derived from conjugal love, which is the supreme emotion. Conjugal love is divided into 2 categories, Svakya and Parakya. Svakya refers to loving affairs between husband and wife, and Parakya refers to loving affairs between 2 lovers. There are a new number of descriptions in this connection. There is also a description of the 64 transcendental qualities of Krishna and the 25 transcendental qualities of Srimati Radharani. So it was a brief description. Explanation of this chapter. The most munificent Supreme Personality of Godhead, known as Gaura Krishna, is distributed to everyone, even the lowest of men, his own confidential treasure in the form of the nectar of love of himself and the holy name. This was never given to the people at any time before. I therefore offer my respectful obeisances unto him. So we must understand that everything that we will read here is explained in mantra Namamaha Vadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate, that this is mercy from God, that we will attain we will receive the Lord's mercy. We will understand why this Lord Chaitanya differs from others, his expansions, because he is Mahavadanyaya, the most merciful. And the explanation of the second part of this mantra, Krishna Pradayate, those who gives. One more time. The most munificent Supreme Personality of Godhead, known as Gaura Krishna, is distributed to everyone, even the lowest of men, his own confidential treasure in the form of the nectar of love of himself and the holy name. This was never given to the people at any time before. I therefore offer my respectful obeisances unto him. All glories to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, all glories to Lord Nityananda, all glories to Advaita Acharya, and all glories to all the devotees of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu continued, "Now hear, O Sanatana, about the result of devotional service, which is love of Godhead, life's ultimate goal. One who hears the description will be enlightened in the transcendental mellows of devotional service. When affection for Krishna becomes deeper, one attains love of Godhead in devotional service. Such a position is called Sthaya Bhava, permanent enjoyment of the mellows of devotional service to Krishna. When devotional service is executed on the transcendental platform of pure goodness, it is like a sun ray of love for Krishna. At such a time, devotional service causes the heart to be softened by various tastes, and one is then situated in Bhava emotion. Bhava emotion has 2 different symptoms, constitutional and marginal. Now, my dear Sanatana, listen to these symptoms of love. When the Bhava softens the heart completely, becomes endowed with a great feeling of possessiveness in relation to the Lord, and becomes very much condensed and intensified, it is called Prema, love of Godhead, by learned scholars. When one develops an unflinching sense of ownership of possessiveness in relation to Lord Vishnu, or in other words, when one thinks Vishnu and no one else to be the only object of love, such an awakening is called bhakti, devotion, by exalted persons like Bhishma, Prahlada, Uddhava, and Narada. If by good fortune a living entity develops faith in Krishna, he begins to associate with devotees. When one is encouraged in devotional service by the association of devotees, one becomes free from all unwanted contamination by following the regulative principles and chanting and hearing. When one is freed from all unwanted contamination, he advances with the firm faith. When firm faith in devotional service awakens, a taste for hearing and chanting also awakens. After taste is awakened, a deep attachment arises, and from that attachment, the seed of love for Krishna grows in the heart. When that ecstatic emotional stage intensifies, it is called love of Godhead. Such love is life's ultimate goal and the reservoir of all pleasure. In the beginning, there must be faith. Then one becomes interested in associating with pure devotees. Thereafter, one is initiated by the spiritual master and executes the regulative principles under his orders. Thus, one is freed from all unwanted habits and becomes firmly fixed in devotional service. Thereafter, one develops taste and attachment. This is the way of sadhana bhakti, the execution of devotional service according to the regulative principles. Gradually, emotions intensify, and finally there is an awakening of love. This is the gradual development of love of Godhead for the devotee interested in Krishna consciousness. The spiritually powerful message of Godhead can be properly discussed only in a society of devotees, and it is greatly pleasing to hear in that association. If one hears from devotees, the way of transcendental experience quickly opens, and gradually one attains firm faith that in due course develops into attraction and devotion. If one actually has the seed of transcendental emotion in his heart, by symptoms will be visible in his activities. That is a verdict of all revealed scriptures. When the seed of ecstatic emotion for Krishna fructifies, the following 9 symptoms manifest in one's behavior. Forgiveness, a concern that time should not be wasted, detachment, absence of false prestige, hope, eagerness, a taste for chanting the holy name of the Lord, attachment to the descriptions of transcendental qualities of the Lord, and affection for those places where the Lord resides, that is, a temple or a holy place like Vrindavana. These are all called Anubhava, subordinate signs of ecstatic emotions. They are visible in a person in whose heart the seed of love of Godhead has begun to fructify. If love of Krishna in a seedling state has fructified in one's heart, one is not agitated by material things. O Brahmanas, just accept me as a completely surrendered soul and let Mother Ganges, the representative of the Lord, also accept me in that way. For I have already taken the lotus feet of the Lord in my heart. Let the snake bird or whatever magical thing that Brahmana created bite me at once. I only desire that you all continue singing the deeds of Lord Vishnu. Not a moment should be lost. Every moment should be utilized for Krishna or connected with him. With their words, they offer prayers to the Lord. With their minds, they always remember the Lord. With their bodies, they offer obeisances to the Lord. Despite all these activities, they are still not satisfied. This is the nature of pure devotees. Shedding tears from their eyes, they dedicate their whole life to the Lord's service. In the material field, people are interested in material enjoyment, mystic power, and then gratification. But these things do not appeal to the devotee at all. Queen Bharata was very eager to attain the association of the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna, who is called Uttama Shloka because poem and prayers are offered to him for his favor. In his youth, King Bharata gave up his attraction, wife, and children, as well as his beloved friends and the opulent kingdom, just as one gives up stool after passing it. Although a pure devotee standard is above all, he still considers himself to be in the lowest stage of life. King Bhagirath always carried the affection for Krishna within his heart. Although King Bhagirath was the crown jewel of kings, he was still wondering about the beginning alms in the city of his enemies. He was even offering respects to Chandalas, low-class men who eat dogs. A fully surrendered devotee always hopes that Lord Krishna will be kind to him. This hope is very firm in him. Oh my Lord, I do not have any love for you, nor I am qualified for discharge and devotional service by chanting and hearing, nor do I possess the mystic power of a Vaishnava, knowledge or pious activities, nor do I belong to a very high caste family. On the whole, I do not possess anything. Still, I beloved of the gopis, because you bestow your mercy on the most fallen. I have an unbreakable hope that is constantly in my heart. That hope is always giving me pain. And the eagerness is chiefly characterized by an adherent's desire to associate with the Lord. O Krishna, O flute player, the sweetness of your early age is wonderful within these three words. You know my unsteadiness, and I know yours. No one else knows about this. I want to see your beautiful, attractive face somewhere in a solitary place, but now can this be accomplished? Due to having great relish for the holy name, one is inclined to chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra constantly. O Govinda, this youthful girl named Radhika is today constantly pouring forth tears, like nectar falling from flowers, as she sings your holy names in a sweet voice. At this stage of bhava, a devotee has awakened the tendency to chant and describe the transcendental qualities of the Lord. He has attachment for this process. Oh my Lord, the transcendental body of Krishna is very sweet, and his face is even sweeter than his body, but his soft smile, which has the fragrance of honey, is sweeter still. A devotee absorbed in ecstatic emotion, for Krishna always resides in a place where Krishna pastimes were performed. O Lord Pundarikaksha, while chanting your holy name with tears in my eyes, when shall I dance in ecstasy on the bank of the Yamuna? These are the symptoms of a person who has developed attraction bhava for Krishna. Now let me describe the symptoms of a person who is actually elevated to love of Krishna. O Sanatana, please hear this from me. Even the most learned man cannot understand the words, activities, and symptoms of a person situated in the love of Godhead. Even the most learned scholar cannot understand the activities and symptoms of an exalted personality in whose heart love of Godhead has awakened. When a person is actually advanced and takes pleasure in chanting the holy name of the Lord, who is very dear to him, he is agitated and loudly chants the holy name. He also loves, cries, becomes agitated and chants just like a madman, not caring for outsiders. Love of Godhead increases and is manifested as affection, counter love, attachment, sub-attachment, ecstasy, and sublime ecstasy. This development is compared to sugarcane seeds, sugarcane plants, sugarcane juice, molasses, Greek sugar, refined sugar, sugar candy, and rock candy. One should understand that just as the taste of sugar increases as it is gradually purified, so when love of Godhead increases from rati, which is compared to the beginning seed, its taste increases. According to the candidate possessiveness, these transcendental qualities, sneha, mana, and so on, there are 5 transcendental mellows: neutrality, servitorship, friendship, parental love, and conjugal love. These 5 transcendental mellows exist permanently. The devotee may be attracted to one of these mellows, and thus he becomes happy. Krishna also becomes inclined toward such a devotee and comes under his control. When the permanent ecstasies, neutrality, servitorship, and so on are mixed with other ingredients, devotional service and love of Godhead is transformed and becomes composed of transcendental mellows. Permanent ecstasy becomes a more and more relishable transcendental mellow through the mixture of special ecstasy, subordinate ecstasy, natural ecstasy, and transitory ecstasy. Yogurt mixed with sugar, candy, black pepper, and camphor is very palatable and tasty. Similarly, when permanent ecstasy mixed with other ecstatic symptoms, it becomes unprecedentedly tasty. There are 2 kinds of particular ecstasies, vibhava. One is called the support and the other is called the awakening. The vibration of Krishna's flute is an example of the awakening, and Lord Krishna himself is an example of the support. The subordinate ecstasies are smiling, dancing, and singing, as well as different manifestations in the body. The natural ecstasies, such as being stunned, are considered among the subordinate ecstasies, anubhava. There are other ingredients beginning with complete despondency and jubilation, and other. Although there are 33 varieties, and when these combine, the mellow becomes very wonderful. There are 5 transcendental mellows: neutrality, servitorship, friendship, parental affection, and conjugal love, which is also known as the mellow or sweetness. Conjugal love excels all the others. The position of neutrality increases up to the point where one can appreciate love of Godhead. The mellow of servitorship gradually increases to the point of spontaneous love of Godhead. After the mellow of servitorship, there are the mellows of friendship and parental love, which increases to subordinate spontaneous love. The greatness of the love found in friends like Subala extends to the standard of ecstatic love of Godhead. These are 2 divisions of each of the 5 mellows: yoga, connection, and viyoga, separation. Among the mellows of friendship and parental affection, there are many divisions of connection and separation. Only in the conjugal mellow are there two ecstatic symptoms called rudha, advanced, and dhirudha, highly advanced. The advanced ecstasies are found among the queens of Dwaraka, and the highly advanced ecstasies are found among the gopis. Highly advanced ecstasy is divided into two categories, Madana and Mohana. Meeting together is called Madana, and separation is called Mohana. On the Madana platform, there are kissing and many other symptoms, which are unlimited in the Mohana stage. There are two divisions, Udghurna, unsteadiness, and Chitrajalpa, varieties of mad emotional talks. Mad emotional talks include 10 divisions called Prajalpa and other names. And an example of this is the 10 verses spoken by Srimati Radharani called the Song to the Bumblebee. Udghurna, unsteadiness, and Vivasha Cheshtha, boastful activities, are aspects of transcendental madness. In separation from Krishna, one experiences the manifestation of Krishna, and one thinks oneself to be Krishna. In conjugal love, Sringara, there are two departments, meeting and separation. On the platform of meeting, there are unlimited varieties that are beyond description. Vipralamba has 4 divisions, Purva, Raga, Mana, Pravasa, and Prema Vaichitya. Of the 4 kinds of separation, 3, Purva, Raga, Pravasa, and Mana, are celebrated in Srimati Radharani and the gopis. In Dwaraka, among the queens, feeling of Prema Vaichitya are very prominent. My dear friend Kurari, it is now night, and Lord Shri Krishna is sleeping. You yourself are not asleep or resting, but are lamenting. Should I presume that you, like us, are affected by the smiling, liberal, playful glance of lotus-eyed Krishna? If so, your heart is deeply pierced. Is that why you are showing these signs of sleeping lamentation? Lord Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who appeared as the son of Nanda Maharaja, is the supreme hero in all dealings. Similarly, Srimati Radharani is the topmost heroine in all dealings. Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead himself, and he is the crown jewel of all heroes. In Krishna, all transcendental good qualities are permanently situated. The transcendental goddess Srimati Radharani is the direct counterpart of Lord Krishna. She is the central figure of all the goddess of fortune. She possesses all the attraction to attract the all-attractive personality of Godhead. She is the primeval internal potency of the Lord. The transcendental qualities of Lord Krishna are unlimited. Out of these, 64 are considered prominent. The ear of the devotees are satisfied simply by hearing all these qualities one after another. Krishna is the supreme hero, has the most beautiful transcendental body. This body possesses all good features. It is radiant and very pleasing to the eyes. His body is powerful, strong, and useful. Krishna is the linguist of all wonderful languages. He is a truthful and very pleasing speaker. He is expert in speaking, and he is a very wise, learned scholar and a genius. Krishna is very expert in artistic enjoyment. He is a highly cunning, expert, grateful, and firmly determined in his vows. He knows how to deal according to time, person, and country, and he sees through the scriptures and authoritative books. He is very clean and self-controlled. Lord Krishna is steady, his senses are controlled, and he is forgiving, grave, and calm. He is also equal to all. Moreover, he is magnanimous, religious, chivalrous, and kind. He is always respectful to respectable people. Krishna is very simple and liberal. He is humble and bashful, and he is the protector of the surrendered souls. He is very happy, and he is always the well-wisher of his devotees. He is all auspicious, and he is submissive to love. Krishna is very influential and famous, and he is the object of attachment for everyone. He is the shelter of the good and the virtuous. He is attractive to the minds of women, and he is worshipped by everyone. He is very rich. Krishna is the supreme, and he is always glorified as the supreme Lord and controller. Thus, all the previously mentioned transcendental qualities are in him. These 50 qualities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead mentioned above are as deep as an ocean. In other words, they are difficult to fully comprehend. These qualities are sometimes very minutely exhibited in living beings, but they are fully manifested in the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Apart from these 50 qualities, there are 5 other qualities found in the Supreme Personality of Godhead that are particularly present in demigods like Shiva. These qualities are: the Lord is always situated in his original position, he is omniscient, he is always fresh and youthful, he is the concentrated from of eternity knowledge and bliss, and he is the possessor of all mystic perfection. There are another 5 qualities which exist in the Vaikuntha planets in Narayana, the Lord of Lakshmi. These qualities are also present in Krishna, but they are not present in demigods like Lord Shiva or in other living entities. These are: the Lord possesses inconceivable supreme power, he generates innumerable universes from his body, he is the original source of all incarnations, he bestows salvation upon enemies he kills, and he has the ability to attract exalted persons who are satisfied in themselves. Although these qualities are present in Narayana, the dominating deity of the Vaikuntha planets, they are even more wonderfully present in Krishna. Apart from these 60 transcendental qualities, Krishna has an additional 4 transcendental qualities which are not manifested even in the personality of Narayana. These are: Krishna is like an ocean filled with waves of pastimes that evoke wonder within everyone in the 3 worlds. In his activities of conjugal love, he is always surrendered by his dear devotees who possesses an unequaled love for him. He attracts the minds of the 3 worlds within the melodious vibration of his flute. His personal beauty and opulence are beyond compare. No one is equal to him, and no one is greater than him. Thus, the personality of Godhead astonishes all living entities, both moving and non-moving within the 3 worlds. He is so beautiful that he is called Krishna. Above Narayana, Krishna has 4 specific transcendental qualities. He is wonderful pastimes and abundance of wonderful associates who are very dear to him, like the gopis. His wonderful beauty and the wonderful vibration of his flute. Lord Krishna is more exalted than ordinarily living beings and demigods like Lord Shiva. He is even more exalted than his personal expansion, Narayana. In all, the Supreme Personality of Godhead has 64 transcendental qualities in full. Similarly, Srimati Radharani has unlimited transcendental qualities, of which 25 are principal. Sri Krishna is controlled by these transcendental qualities of Srimati Radharani. Now, we should stop at the most sweetest thing, because there will be described the qualities of Radharani. We can continue, but we can so they decide to continue reading or stop here. Let's wait, but someone can read, but we will return to this point. So that's how we come close to this ocean of nectar, meditating on it, getting this success. So we have the description of God here from different sides. How does he look? Where does he live? So we have the picture of our love. It's more easier to love someone, to love God, when we know how he looks like. And let's continue our marathon, and you can feel that after it, that nothing will attract you as much as God, and Krishna will not leave your heart after it, and this is our success. So thank you, everybody, and see you here on our marathon that dedicated to the benefit of the whole world, of this reading of this Caitanya-caritamrita of pastimes of Lord Chaitanya.